Have you ever been to Little Sahara Sand Dunes? If not, this video is probably for you. We go over how to get there. These campgrounds. Where to dump the crapper when it's full. All the anemones. So let's get into it. Sand Mountain. This is our home away from home. We spend at least 8 weekends a year out here, probably for the last 40 or so years. Our parents got us hooked. They started coming in the mid-70s, back when campers, trucks, and Volkswagen buggies were a thing. Our parents raised us on 3-wheelers. If it was red and it had 3 wheels, most likely we had it. Started out with the ATC 70s, moved up to the 185, then the 200Xs, of course with the Cobra pipe, and then on to the big 250Rs. Dune season starts the end of March. Usually the big weekend is Easter out there. The weather can sometimes be unpredictable. I mean, we've woken up to snow before. You can go until about the middle of June, and then it just is getting way too hot. In the summer, you do like an early morning day trip or an evening. The fall is one of my favorite times. It's usually September, October. It's just nice and cool, and it's always fun.
Alright, so if you're going to go through Eureka, you're going to get off I-15 on exit 244, which is going to take you into a little town called Santa Quinn. And you basically turn there and just head straight out. You go through 3 or 4 other small towns before you hit Eureka. And after Eureka, there's not a whole lot between there and the dunes. So that's like I said, that's the way we're going to go. Just because I think there's a little more to see. A little town called Alberta. This is just before Eureka, and there's a little gas station that's really famous for people to come in front of. In fact, there's a whole motorcycle crew right here right now.
They're taking their pictures out.
It's an old Sinclair. It's kind of cool. Popular little spot. Now we're heading, start the climb into Eureka. So it's a climb from here on up to Eureka. So if you're pulling, it's going to work out whatever your pull rig is. Okay, we're just heading into Eureka right now. Still a ton of snow here, it's crazy.
Yeah, I've never seen this much snow.
But this is the last town you'll head through before the dunes. So there is not a whole lot here. There is one gas station. So if you need fuel, there's 2 gas stations, I'm sorry. But there's really not a grocery store or anything. It's pretty small. It's an old mining town. It's actually a cool little town. If you have time to stop and check it out, it's kind of cool. There's a lot of history here in mining.
Every August they have Silver Days here, and they open up some of these old buildings, and you can walk through them. They have museums, and it has all the Tintic mining stuff that they had from the beginning of the town. Yeah.
Carbide miners, like a real tiny hole right there where the gas comes out. Striker, like on a cigarette lighter. But the light after catching gas here.
Woo! That was.
That is awesome.
That is so cool. That's what they would use.
That doesn't look like much light.
I cannot believe how much snow is here. I've never seen. There's the one gas station. Or one of the two.
Here to start heading into the Little Sahara. It's the main entrance. All right, we're heading into the main entrance here. So this is where you have to pay. So during business hours, typically, there is somebody manning that little booth to take your money. That sign there has all the fees on it.
Is there anybody coming? This building here is the new visitor center. It's supposed to be opening Easter 2023. Be open on Easter.
So for years you could put money in this little deal there. There's an envelope you could fill out and put your money in it to pay when this booth isn't opened. But I was reading on their website before we came, and it looks like this year they've got it so you can do it online. So they're actually saying you can get on the Wi-Fi. There's a guest Wi-Fi here to buy that online also here at this ranger station. But we purchased ours ahead of time just to try it. Just at home, we got online, we're able to pay, print off a little paper saying we paid that we can put in the windshield or whatever. But basically, to roll through here, the minimum fee is 18 bucks. That gives you one night and kind of 2 days. The day you come in and then till dusk the next day. So it's pretty much a one night pass. If you're gonna come out here much at all, it's worth it just to buy a season pass. I think they're $120, and it's worth it if you're gonna come out much. So, but anyhow, this is where you pay. This ranger station, they typically have somebody in there, you know, during business hours. It's been closed because they built that new one, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to open up here pretty quick. But also, they do check you leaving that you've paid, so you gotta pay. They usually have this, especially on weekends once it warms up. Right now it's still kind of off season a little bit, but they will they check you as you pull out of here to make sure you've paid. So make sure you figure out a way to pay. This online thing's all new, but it worked pretty good. We did have to make a username and stuff and a password for the website, but once we did that, we were able to just put your card number in and choose if you wanted it. You could buy a season pass, you could buy 1 day, or you could buy a 4-day or a 6-day or something. That had a few options. One restroom here at the ranger station, just so you know. I think it's an actual flushing toilet too. I haven't been in it, but I think it is.
Okay, let's talk about this sign.
So 0 days since last year's accident. It's typically that way. Seems to always be accidents here. So it's like anything else recreational. There's risk. But one thing I've learned, I've been coming here my whole life, and the group we come with, we've had very minimal accidents. If you use that superpower called common sense, you can be pretty safe, and you know, wear your protective gear, have a flag. That's another thing. Flags are required on everything here, so make sure you have a flag. But there is accidents here all the time, not gonna lie. That very rarely has very many numbers on that as you come in. Most of the time it says 0 or 1 or 2 or something. So I do want to be very careful out here. If you can see, it has a bunch of water spigots. People pull in here to fill their water tank or get water and do whatever. I do know the water gets shut off, I think November 1st, it said on the website. And I'm not sure, it didn't say when it gets turned back on. I think it just depends on the weather. So I'm not sure if it's back on yet, but you know, all through the season when it's warm, there is running water here. And this is just right after you pull through the ranger station. So that's a good friend of ours that's started an off-road recovery business out here. He's built his big rock crawler into a wrecker, and he's just out here to help get people off the dunes. So if you get in a bind and break down, give him a call. He can help get you off the sand. All right, the first place to camp as you're pulling through, it's called White Sands. So we're gonna turn into there. You can see here to the left, there's a bunch of dumpsters to dump your trash off. So please don't leave it laying around. Bring it to the dumpsters. All right, so now we're heading into White Sands campground. This is these dunes are smaller out here. Like if you have a sand rail, not that you can't drive it out here, but Sand Mountain's gonna be better for that. This is more of a four-wheeler dirt bike area, side by side. If you the camping, I think, will be quieter out here probably. I do think there possibly could be a quiet hour. I need to look into that, but it's probably not as rowdy as it is at Sand Mountain here. But you can also ride the dunes all the way to Sand Mountain from here if you'd like. It is a little bit of a ride, but there's just kind of camping all along the edges here. You see there's picnic tables. There are some outhouses. There's an outhouse there. So there are some restrooms. I don't think those are flushing toilets. But this is yeah, this is White Sands area here. This is still White Sands area. It does look like the road could get soft here if you're pulling a trailer or something. All right, we're now gonna head into the Jericho picnic area and Oasis campground and kind of go over that. We're passing by the turnoff for Sand Mountain. We're gonna come back to that, but we're gonna head into here first. Now, pulling in here, this is where the RV dump is if you want to use it. So if you're going home from Sand Mountain, you can turn into towards Oasis, and there is an RV dump. I don't know if it's open yet because we're still just coming out of winter, but it is open through the whole dune season. We do have a bunch more dumpsters up here also. There's plenty of places to put your trash in these dunes, so please pick it up. So we're back to Jericho. This is Jericho picnic area. Again, there's something to talk about here is no glass containers allowed at these dunes, no pallets. and says no large bonfires. The glass containers and pallets are huge because people have thousands of dollars worth of tires drive around out here and get nails and glass in them.
Don't ever, ever, ever.
It's not cool. So we do have restrooms here. That's picnic tables. Okay, here's the RV dump. So how it works, you can pull in both directions. It's blocked off right now because the water's not on. But there's two spots. Pull through there, and there's a turnaround. Again, we have restrooms here. Looks like there's water here also. Picnic tables, fire pits. I know all this is first come first serve. I don't think you can reserve any of these. I think you just get here. If you get here first, you can get it. So that's the camping. The dunes are out this direction from the
that way.
From the camping. You just head out all these little trails and the dunes open up. Again, these are the smaller dunes. If you got a sand car, dune buggy, these aren't as good, but they are more for four-wheelers and dirt bikes and stuff like that. They're still the smaller dunes. But again, just like the other areas we talked about, it's going to be quieter over here. And there's more of a camp spot rather than Sand Mountain's just a big open area where you cram as many people in your spot as you can. That's where we'll head next. So as we're heading into Sand Mountain here, there's a few spots to park there. Mainly it's just, I think there's three big loops where you can kind of just pull off anywhere and park. But before we pull into the Sand Mountain, there's a couple of places to the left of the road here that you can pull over. It's more of a gravel area. It tends to be a little quieter there, but you are back a little bit of ways from the mountain, but it is kind of gravelly, so as long as that doesn't bother you. There's one more little area that you can pull down in and camp. We got water here also, see, so this is what they call Vendor Row. Now shorts, hats, parts. You can always call. There's off-road recovery. Jericho Specialties is here most of the whole season. These two trailers will almost always be here. They're awesome. They got whatever you need. And they are here most of the season. So this is Sand Mountain. Now, Sand Mountain right here, we have toilets with running water. The rest of the restrooms here are all just outhouses. So let's kind of drive around the loops. This is the first loop. You come to your right. Camping is just all down here. Now, as wet as it's been, you can see when it rains, it turns to muck. Down lower in there, it can be a mess. And some of these spots are super soft.
Yeah, there's. That's usually has
But this can turn gooey when it gets wet. Some of these spots are a little soft, so you gotta be careful. Pulling a motorhome or something down in there, you're gonna want to walk down in there. Because you'll have soft spots and you'll have hard spots. You gotta be careful. For the most part, you can get around pretty good, but there are some spots that get stuck. On a busy holiday weekend, all this area fills up. It's hard to find a spot. And one thing to tell you about Sand Mountain, there is no curfew. People will ride all night. So, can't deal with that. Just keep that in mind. Here, and there is signs like this.
Okay, what does this sign say?
They just want you 20 feet off of the pavement. So you can't just pull right off the side of the road. You got to get past those signs pretty much. Another set of outhouses over there.
And it looks like there's a lake here. It's typically not there.
There's some pallets out there, which doesn't make me happy either, because that means somebody's been burning them, and you're gonna get nails in your paddles. They call the backside of Sand Mountain. Now we're gonna do a whole nother video on the dunes once the weather gets better. Bring the dune buggy out and drive around the dunes and do a whole tour of the dunes, the main parts anyhow. Okay, well, this is Sand Mountain. The weather was supposed to be a little bit better today, but we're getting excited for the season start, but it's seems like it's going to be a little bit out. But yeah, hopefully this video helps you guys, anybody who hasn't been out here before, get a feel for a little bit what it's like, the camping, and what's here for restrooms and water and stuff like that. But we're gonna do, once it warms up, like I say, we're gonna do a video of the dunes itself, drive around the dunes and show some of the areas and different spots that we like to go to.